So, things are gonna get spicy today, folks, because the Vancouver Canucks are in Dallas, Texas, playing off against the Dallas Stars at a 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time starting time. And this is going to be difficult, because I don't know if you noticed, the Vancouver Canucks aren't really doing all too well, but the Dallas Stars, they kinda are. Jason Robertson seems to have found his game, and Mikko Rantanen's looking better than ever. But in this video, I wanted to go over some of the other Canucks news and notes from the past few days that dive into some of the optimistic stuff, and how some of the Vancouver Canucks players are feeling heading into tonight's contest. Now, this could be seen as old news, so I apologize. It's from 2 days ago, forgive me. But I wanted to dive into, firstly, Ian McIntyre's article from 2 nights ago, the Canucks feeling urgency, not panic, amid early growing pains, and then we're also going to go over onto the fourth period to get into a Kiefer Sherwood contract update. Now, these are both from 2 days ago. If Kiefer Sherwood ends up signing an extension by the time this video is uploaded, then hey, that's my bad, but I'm recording this the night of the 15th. It'll be up in about 12 hours or so on the 16th, 5 hours before puck drop. But it turns out, despite the fact that Vancouver isn't really doing all too well, you take a look at the games they've played so far, 5-1 win over the Calgary Flames, 3-1 loss to the Oilers, 5-2 loss to the Blues. You could realistically say that in 9 periods of hockey, the Canucks have only really had one solid period, and that was third period against Calgary. Despite the fact that the team really isn't looking all too good right now, seems like the Canucks players themselves are not panicking. And I want to give a big shout out to Ian McIntyre for getting the quotes over here. Just from everything that's happened in the last couple of years, it probably feels a little bit more urgent, the way that they're losing and not getting results right now, than maybe if we were a team that was in the playoffs last year. Canucks captain Quinn Hughes said after Tuesday's practice at Rogers Arena, but we haven't deserved that right. To kind of be 1-2 and say, we'll be good. We have to go prove it. There's a mental challenge, sure, but it's our job to be positive throughout the whole season no matter what's going on. So we tried to have fun today at practice. Definitely there's waves of ups and downs, and I felt it last night. But for myself, just be positive and bring your best every game. So that's what I need to try to do, and everyone needs to do. By the way, it was Quinn Hughes' birthday 2 days ago, so happy birthday to Captain Quinn turning 26 years young. This article then dives into some of the intricacies on the Canucks' losses, how urgency is usually a precursor for desperation and panic, and it always seems to lurk near the Canucks, especially over the holiday weekend losses, 5-2 Monday at home to the Blues, and Saturday, 3-1 in Edmonton against the Oilers. The Canucks weren't nearly good enough in either game, but as usual, in a market scarred by disappointment over many years and wary of being fooled again, emotions are outracing reality. Now, IMAC's a legend in the biz. He's been at it for years, so obviously he knows this market and the people in it better than anybody else, I'd say, that does consistent written content for this hockey team. So, when IMAC's talking about the Canucks fans, the emotions running high, everybody's disappointed, we've been disappointed for years, yeah, there's a really big element of truth to that, so let's continue on here, just skimming by. The article talks about how Hughes is on a single assist, and he is a -2 through 3 games, but his expected goals for share at 5v5 is at 59%. Elias Pettersson has just 1 assist and 3 shots on goal, but his expected goals for is 68%. Connor Garland has only 1 assist, but co-leads Vancouver with 9 shots. The Canucks need to finish, and their power play that surged through the preseason needs to offer something better than 0 for 7. The team also must earn more chances with the man advantage and stop turning over pucks and yielding quality scoring chances when they're chasing games. They need to play tighter and sharper, like they proved they could do in a preseason that had them, and many fans, brimming with optimism. Here is what Demko had to say. The thing for me is the things that have been lacking are things that are super correctable. we can address those things, and we have in video and things like that. But yeah, those are easy things to fix. We had so much momentum for us in the preseason games, and I don't think it's going to take much to kind of get back to that level and have that swagger as a group. And as for any darkness closing in for Game 4 Thursday in Dallas, I think no one's talking about it, Demko said. I think guys are fine. If you guys in the media are chatting about it, I don't know. But I don't get that sense in the room, to answer your question. I don't think there's a panic level or anything like that. We know we have to address some things. We've got to clean some things up for sure. We're not turning a blind eye to that. But I think we're the same group we were a week ago. I feel good about our group, and I think guys are excited to get back on the road. So Demko, this is a really good team-building quote. You don't want to toss any guys under the bus, especially your own teammates, but Demko is doing the total opposite. He's putting all these guys up to the wall and saying, yeah, no, we're fine. No bad vibes. We're not going out there and talking about us being down 1-2 at the start of the season. You guys in the media could be talking about it, but for us in the room, that's not an issue. Because the problems that are occurring with the Vancouver Canucks are, in Demko's words, super correctable. The way it's structured, the way he says these things, it doesn't seem like it's a personnel issue. They don't have the second line center they need in order to become good. That's the problem. No, it's more like they're just making mistakes, and they've been sloppy with their passes, and the way they try to create offense, it just hasn't been there like it was in the preseason, and that's fair. Honestly, I'd agree with that. They looked pretty sloppy, but we know based off of the preseason, they do have different plans compared to last year. Now, you don't want to see them getting no shots on goal like they did against Edmonton, but still, correctable mistakes. We'll see whether or not that comes out in the game against Dallas. This is what Kiefer Sherwood went out there and said about this situation here. I think you have to have adversity throughout the season. I don't care what team you are. You think we have a good camp and it's just going to be smooth sailing? That's not how a season works. If anything, it's good to go through growing pains earlier so that we know how to respond, how we can grow, how we stick together, and how we learn from it. At the end of the day, it's what you do with those losses that can propel us to more wins. We have to flip the switch from training camp mode and, summer happiness to lock in here. It's going to be hard, and I think you've got to embrace the hard, right? Ay. That's a Rick Tocchet quote, isn't it? You can't try to avoid it. It's a long, grueling season, especially with our condensed schedule this year, so we have to embrace it. The urgency has to be now. It can't be 10 or 15 games in. We did this to ourselves, and now it's time for us to move forward. And like I said, put our work boots on and grow from it. Now, this is a good place to segue into the Kiefer Sherwood contract conversation. This is what David Pagnotta wrote about on the fourth period in regards to Vancouver and how they have yet to talk with Kiefer Sherwood about a contract extension. Yeah, the guy's contract is expiring here, and he has been one of, if not the best Vancouver Canucks to open up this season. And of course, last year he broke the hits record, so he's been looking pretty good. $1.5 million a year till the end of this season. He's been making that amount of money this year and last. And last year, he had 19 goals and 40 points. So Chief Keef has been pretty good. And now, David Pagnotta's talking about how things don't really look all too good when it comes to starting those contract extension talks. The Canucks have not yet started negotiations with Sherwood's camp on an extension, as reported by David Pagnotta in last week's DFO rundown. The Canucks really liked what he did last season for them. His role and responsibilities have increased. They haven't really gotten to the nitty-gritty of negotiations just yet. I think there's a little bit of worry that if he replicates what he did last season or comes close to it or surpasses it, it's going to cost them too much. He's at $1.5 million AAV. If he puts up those numbers again, he's at least doubling his AAV. And I think that's a little bit of a concern from the Canucks side of things. Pagnotta added today that negotiations have still not yet commenced and suggested the Canucks may wait to see how their season goes before committing to Kiefer Sherwood. There have been some conversations. Yeah, they're talking. But there's a difference between talking and there's a difference between negotiating, and they're not at that second stage yet. We'll wait and see whether or not that actually manifests over the next few weeks or months here, but for now, We gotta wait until this game against the Dallas Stars. This is going to be make or break time for Vancouver fans watching this team and getting excited for the year. Because if they stink, there's nothing to be excited for anymore. Okay, no, there are 78 more games. We'll see what happens and make a video about it after, but for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about what Quinn Hughes and Thatcher Demko had to say about the Vancouver Canucks start to the year. What are your thoughts on the Kiefer Sherwood conversation, and are you starting to panic about these things? Comments help out with the algorithm, so I'd appreciate it if you got involved there. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.